Did you consider using Proto to write, to avoid writing all this? For example, what strikes me is to write a row, have to write a structure, and the structure inside is way too long and compacts way too fast. Let's say I want to have something like declare name, and I will say shift, it's an int, shift, it's 20, less than 20 characters, shift, it's mandatory, shift of, okay, and then I say create table, name, shift, or name plus ID plus date plus what? It will be about 1/10 of the code, and it will take compile 3 times longer. But okay, it will be 1/10 of the code.
Yes, and create error messages which
It's
go from here to the loom and back.
Actually not. No, because it's above your library. It's like you keep your engine, you put a layer on top
Okay,
of it.
so, well, yes, I tried to use Proto. That was in 2010, and at that time, at least my machine wasn't nearly as powerful enough as it should have been to ever reach what I have right now, because compile times were so horrible, and I couldn't really wrap my head around Proto in a way that would have enabled me to just write this, and then after 2 days say, okay, compile. Oh yes, it works. I'm not made for Proto.
Okay. It has to be quite great for the columns. To define a column is great because it's too much code.
Maybe it is.
Just for small parts, you could try it. Like column is perfect for this.
Yeah.
But maybe to clarify the code for the columns and all that, that's usually not handwritten.
Yeah.
So that's generated usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
How do you generate that?
yeah, but if you have to debug it.
How do you generate?
Well, at Part4 we have a Python script that takes the table definitions from the SQL tables and just translates that into the code that you have seen here. So it's very primitive, but you can integrate that into your build process very easily. And if you keep the column definitions at pretty much the same place as your code, then via the code generator generating the header files, you can also pretty much make sure that your code is in sync with the databases. Yeah.
Is this connection pool handling a part of this library or not?
No. So the question was if connection pool handling is part of this library. The sql11 is just the top layer which defines the language and teaches the compiler about SQL. So you can create these expressions, and whatever is done with that, whether it's translated into a string, fed into a typical database, or whether it's used on a vector, as we have seen, that's totally up to the connector and libraries which might be beyond that. So anything like connection pooling, that's outside the scope of this library.
Do you depend on Boost?
It currently doesn't.
Did you open source it?
Yes. Yeah, it's available on GitHub. On the invitation to this talk, there's a link. Yeah. And
So, and would you like to have concepts now?
oh yes. Yeah, I would really like to have concepts light, because it would make quite a bit of the code much leaner than it is right now, and probably, at least from what I heard so far, it would also make error messages shorter than they are right now. Some of these static asserts could be thrown away. Not all of them, because in some places I think it's still better to use this static assert version that I showed you instead of concepts. But yes, concepts will be very interesting to use in this library. Okay, then thank you very much again. first year after this, there's drinks and there's some food and have fun.